right, everyone. It is Saturday, April 22nd. Last night, had ourselves a night. My main slip went 4 of 5. Jalen Brunson, he didn't get there post-bump. His pre-bump line did get there, which is actually kind of insane when you think about it. He lost by 0.7, costing me over $1,000 in that slip. I had 4 other slips go 5 of 6, missing by Tatum. I had his under. He went over by 1 fantasy point, and then I had Okongwu in a couple. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. It's still a crush. You guys sent me tons of W's. I couldn't believe it. I'm really happy for you guys. Make sure this is the first step in your process, and let's get into it. First up, we have 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. 2-point spread, over under 208, abysmal total. I'm not really interested. Next, the Suns Clippers, 7.5-point spread, 226. I really think that the Clippers are way too much of a dog here. Next, Miami Heat versus the Bucks. I don't really know what's going to happen there after that last game we saw. The Heat, they really are lost without Tyler Hero. We'll have to wait and see. Grizzlies Lakers. This is probably going to be the best game on the slate. We have 4 games. I don't think we've had a day where we've had all 4. So let's hopefully we crush. These playoffs are moving extremely fast, but don't fret. We have WNBA all season long coming up May 19th, and then NFL will be here before you know it. Trust me, boys. That being said, let's take a look at the PrizePicks board, what they got up right now. This is an extremely early video. I'm getting this out for you guys the night before. Technically, it's going to be Saturday, but it's still, I'm up late, grinding, cooking, getting it done for you guys, because that is what I do for you. Okay? First up, the Brooklyn Nets versus Philadelphia 76ers. I will be taking unders. What? Unders. Huh? Unders on some of these guys. Cameron Johnson, 30 fantasy points. It's way too high. That, I'm already telling you right now, I'm taking the under on that. I don't care. Spencer Dinwiddie, 35.5. I think it's in play. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it absolutely is in play. I won't be going there personally. Tyrese Maxey, 35.5. Again, this is too high. I'm taking the under on these two will be my under picks right here. To buy all these guys are jacked up. I mean, I'm assuming what? Joel Embiid's going to sit. Is that the situation here? That's probably the situation. So if Joel Embiid does sit, Tyrese, I'll leave that alone. Mikal Bridges, 40.5 fantasy score. Unless they're going to play a full game, he ain't going to get that. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about Mikal. He came out hot, scoring 60 fantasy points way back when. Now, he barely struggles to get 35 to 40, but I'm not touching too much of this game. I do see an under opportunity with Cameron Johnson. However, his real point total is good, but this fantasy score, it's way too high. I stick to his points or his points rebounds. Don't take his fantasy score. It's too high. It should be 26. It's at 30, under all day. Tobias Harris, we're going to need that Embiid news. If he's confirmed out, all 3 of these guys are in play. Tobias would probably be my favorite. Not his fantasy score, however, his real point total. Same thing with James Harden. My favorite prop for James Harden is going to be right here. Over 2.5 3-pointers. He's going to come out tilted from last game. If you want to take a James Harden prop, there you go. If you want to roll dice and take his fantasy score, you absolutely can, pending Joel Embiid news. Okay, I've talked about this enough. If you want to take a gamble on Claxton going under his rebounds or something, go ahead. But I just don't see the appeal of this game. Maybe I'll take Maxey over and retract my previous statement, because 35.5 if Embiid's out, it is a little bit too low. But even then, I'm still not a huge fan of this. Like I said, this will probably be the only one that I take. Okay, moving on. We got the Suns and the Clippers game at 240. I'm not making the same mistake I made last time. If Kawhi Leonard sits, Norman Powell is going to be the staple in all my slips. 38.5 fantasy points. I will be taking the over. Same thing with his real points. This is if Leonard sits. Then Russell Westbrook. Look at how high they jacked up his fantasy score. 48.5. If Kawhi Leonard sits, it's absolutely in play. If Kawhi sits, these are your 2 guys. That's all you need. Over, and then nothing else. That's the only 2 that you need to worry about. DeAndre Ayton, look at his fantasy score. It's all the way down to 30. Just keep taking the under on it. I mean, take it until he forces it over. I like the under all day here. He's just not getting the same production with KD in the mix. It's really that simple. He's not getting it done, so we'll take the under. So he's in play. He's someone you want to target. Again, Norman Powell, Russell, if Kawhi sits, over. They average more than that per their season average. Norman Powell's real points is going to be real good. D-Book, I'm definitely taking something of D-Book. It's probably going to be his PRA, but possibly his fantasy score. I'm not sure. Let's take a look at his PRA real quick, see where it's at. 40.5. I will probably be taking this for D-Book and just take the discount. 40.5 points, rebounds, assists over, or maybe even his real points. I'm not sure yet. But for this particular video, if you want to stick to fantasy scores, there you go. 47.5 for the old D-Book. Go ahead. If you want to take it, take it. Look at this guy, Skeletor, Daddy Longlegs, as someone in my community referred to him. They said, Daddy Longlegs ain't cooking, so stop riding him. I agree with you. We're off the train, but this will be where he bounces back. I just know how this goes. So if you want to take over 48.5 on KD, I don't mind that one bit. Eric Gordon, 22.5 fantasy score. I'm not buying this at all. Even if Kawhi sits, I will take the under there. The only prop that I would take with Eric Gordon is his real points, and even then, I'm just not interested in him. No, sir. You can't get it done last game with no Kawhi, no Paul George. You want me to think that you're going to come out here and get 22.5 fantasy scores? I am not buying what you're selling. Next, Chris Paul. Playoff Chris Paul. Everyone hates on Chris Paul, but look at this. 37.7, 37.8, 40. The man just keeps getting it done by the skin of his teeth. So I will continue until he lets me down with the over. Okay, again, this is Devin Booker's team. I don't care what anyone says. It's Devin Booker's team, and everyone needs to accept that fact. He is the guy that we need to be targeting. Enough of that game. Let's go over to the stinker where they got blown out of the third quarter last game. The game was over at half. Let's see what we got. Jimmy Buckets, 47.5 fantasy score. This is an auto over, okay? Last game, he only played 2.5 quarters and he got 38 fantasy points. You see what I'm saying? They need to win or they're done. And pretty much 47.5. If you want to target this game, he's the guy you stick with. Don't even waste your time with everyone else. Giannis, 49.5 fantasy score. If he plays, this is extremely low. If this guy plays 30 minutes, 49.5 fantasy score is just way too low. I mean, good luck trying to convince me to take the under on that prop. If I take it, it'll be the over. If I don't, it's just going to be a fade. I'm not taking the under. I like Middleton, 35.5 fantasy score. He's always in play. Again, if they get a full game, he can crush. Same thing with Drew Holiday. If for some reason Giannis sits, even if he doesn't, Drew Holiday's the guy you want to target. Target his fantasy score. He does everything, and just move on. So these are the two you target from here. I don't like any unders. Just target those two and move on if you're insistent on targeting that game to begin with. All right, next up, the creme de la creme. LeBron James, the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. We got Desmond Bane at 38 fantasy score. He sold last game. Look at this, 18.3. He had extreme foul trouble. I don't know what was going on that game. But regardless, I don't know if Ja Morant's coming back. We'll have to wait for news. These are going to be my favorites right here. If-then scenarios. If Ja Morant sits, automatically, Desmond Bane's in play. By the way, whatever Desmond Bane's foul is, I did this yesterday with Aaron Gordon. I said it was going to be 2.5. It wasn't even out yet. The line was 2.5. I told you to take the over. It smashed easily. Instantly. Desmond Bane, same thing. The line isn't out yet. Whatever it is, you want to take the over on his personal fouls, okay? If you want to gamble, you can take his fantasy score. I don't hate it. I'll wait for news, and we'll discuss this later on the live stream, okay? LeBron James, 51.5. What did I tell you guys a couple weeks ago? I will play playoff LeBron James fantasy score all season long over, and if he sells, he sells. He's King James. This is what he does. He's been crushing for 20 years. No one's even holds a candle to this man when he steps on that floor right now, and that is just the facts, okay? It is what it is. Take the over on LeBron if you want to touch anyone from that game. If you want to sprinkle in AD, he's due for a big game. You can. 52.5 fantasy score for AD is a smidge too low. Dylan Brooks has been getting a lot of hype lately with the TikTok videos and whatever. I'm not buying this fantasy score. Even if Ja Morant's out, I would take his real points, stay away from his fantasy score. Let's take a look at what his real points total is real quick, and then we will move on. Where's he going to be at? Let's see. Dylan Brooks, 14.5 real points. If you want to target anything from him, that's who you target. Xavier Tillman, if Morant sits, go ahead and target him. I was wrong about him last game. I'll take my L. So there you go. Bounce right back to him and take him. Rui Hachimura, this is my play of the day, 90% likely. He's not going to be stopped. He's not being stopped. Rui Hachimura, over 13.5 points. Book it in, lock it in, take it. It should be 15. 13.5, I like it. I love it. I'm crushing it. Same thing with Reeves. You want to go back to Reeves? Austin Reeves, over 3.5 rebounds. His points, that's good. His PRA, all of it's good. Okay? You can't let recency bias affect how you make your plays. Trae Young last night, classic example. Oh, Trae Young works for PrizePicks. Trae Young's on the ban list. Let me get my telephone out. Yo, Trae, what's up? No, guys, for real. When it comes to this, the recency bias, you got to let it go. Every game it's a unique event. I don't care about the last 5. I don't care about the last 10. I don't care who the referee is. The only thing I care about is fantasy point per minute, which is, it's not up right now, and then how many minutes they're going to play. It's that simple for these fantasy scores. Nothing else matters. Okay, factor in the matchup a little bit, but by that, you want to factor in pace. You want to factor in the spread, stuff like that. These double team scenarios that you guys conjure up in your head that Steven Smith and First Take talk about, none of that stuff exists. All that is just talking points so those guys can have a job to get paid on TV. I promise you that. That's a fact. Moving on. Austin Reeves, 27.5 fantasy score. You want to gamble with him? I don't hate it. D'Angelo Russell, where has this guy been? He's due a big game. If you want to gamble with him, you could, but I'm not going there. This is probably my favorite play on the board. Rui Hachimura, 13.5, followed by, I guess, I'm not going to say, I guess it would be Drew Holiday. Honestly, it's probably Drew Holiday. So, we covered this extensively, fam, okay? I told you guys everything I thought. We went over it. I want to get away from posting slips, and I want to start posting props, and I will be doing that. It's going to be on you guys to dive a little bit deeper and be able to make your slips correctly. That being said, I'm thankful for all of you new subscribers for coming to the channel and checking me out. If you like my no-nonsense approach, give me a subscribe. I appreciate it. I go TikTok live every single day and discuss all of these games in detail. I answer your questions. Then I build a community slip. All of us, all 300 of us, we build a slip together. It went 5 of 6 yesterday. It was so close. And then I make a slip of my own that I post, and then I do rapid fire props where I just start spouting off all the props on the board that I like. And you guys, you're in class, you take your pen and your paper, you write it down, you crush that paper, you crush that pen, and you find a W. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Okay? That being all I have to say, good luck tomorrow and crush.